Welcome to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. Use the power of discovering new habits to create success in all areas of life. Body, fitness and nutrition, being, spirituality, passion and purpose, balance, marriage, kids and relationships, business, marketing, sales, leadership and systems. Transform your life by learning how habits work. And now your host, a husband, father, entrepreneur, trainer, coach, and warrior, Jesse Ewell.
Welcome back to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Ewell, and today we're going to be talking about the habit of being a roommate versus being a teammate. Now, today I want to talk specifically about this idea of what it means to be a roommate in a marriage versus being a teammate. See, there's a lot of couples every single week that I get to talk to, whether it's inside of our Power Couples program or somebody interested in doing some coaching as a couple. And one of the things that I find very common between anybody struggling in marriage is this idea or this concept of being a roommate versus a teammate. See, a roommate may feel something like they are completely disconnected. They live in the same house. This couple lives in the same house. They live under the same roof. They even have kids together. But there's certain things that aren't happening. There's certain things that are not happening as teammates. And these things that are happening are more like roommates. See, roommates, there's a specific criteria that tends to happen. Sex often isn't happening at all. It's almost like they're a married couple is running on completely different and separate programs. You know, oftentimes one of them, the man, is usually staying at work, working long hours. And the wife tends to, either be working another job or there's this stay-at-home CEO mom who is kind of working and running the home, and the husband is running the office and the business and trying to make money and really trying to focus on this while the mom feels alone and she's operating her own business, but it happens to be the kids, the home, and other things. So these are problems and common problems that we often deal with inside of marriage. Married couples have went away from working as a team, having a common mission, having a common direction in life, knowing where they're going, and they've gotten to this place where they're just surviving. Now, I want you to really think about this. If you are on a sports team, if your marriage was a sports team, if your life and everything that operates inside of your home was a sports team, how would this be functioning? Would you guys be winning right now? Would you be winning right now as a team? Would you be losing? Would you be having a losing season, or would you just be doing enough to get by? Because I know this, when I use this frame and what it really means to truly be a team, I know for me, it helps me kind of see what's really going on. It helps me bring everything together, and it helps me be like, man, you know what? Right now, as a team, we're probably getting our ass kicked. Right now, as a team, we're not losing, but we're also not winning. We're kind of in the middle. We're not really getting any better. Or we are kicking ass. And how do we know we're kicking ass? Look at the scoreboard. Look at the results of, me and my wife are having sex. Look at the results. My kids are flourishing. Look at the results. We're working together as a team. We're figuring stuff out. And no matter what's getting thrown at us, we are working together to come through on the other side. Because here's the reality: no team is a perfect team. No marriage is a perfect marriage. It's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is having a team that works together versus being roommates that operate on completely separate pages and completely separate programs. So I can think back to my marriage 5-6 years ago. And, even for probably a few year period when we first started having kids, it oftentimes felt more like roommates. And some of the things that we would go through would be, not communicating. And at times, this even still pops up today. Leaving notes, avoiding hard conversation, energy, completely being on separate pages, completely being off inside of a group, picking each other apart, just keeping score of what, you're doing and what the other person isn't doing, not seeing what they're actually doing. The other part of this is oftentimes roommates, more times than not, they don't sleep together. They sleep in separate rooms, separate beds. I can't think of a worse thing for a married couple to do than to sleep in different beds. The other thing, roommates don't have sex. They don't have intimacy. I think a lot of times as married couples, you can get into this place where one person withholds sex from the other. They often are like, hey, all you want is sex, so I'm going to not give that to you. And it comes out in a way of control. So the one of the spouses withholds sex, and that is their way of controlling what's actually going on in the relationship. And they'll often say things like, well, all you want is sex. Well, in marriage, a working marriage often requires you to have sex and connect on an intimate level. That is part of being married. And if you're not doing that, chances are you're going to be like roommates. And then there's this other side where maybe the only way you're connecting in marriage is by having sex. And so I think there's this fine line of having sex and being connected. Roommates often watch TV while the other person is cleaning up and doing other things, doing laundry, things like that. They ignore each other. They kind of have their own little safe place. They do things on their own terms. They don't pick up after themselves, or they spend a lot of their time picking up after the other person, cleaning the dishes, because one of them is acting like they're a kid. They expect the other person to do everything, and they complain about how the other person doesn't show up. Roommates are often very reactive. You did this to me, or you do this to me, and they often walk around waiting for the other person to react to whatever they do. You see, roommates often ignore other roommates. They fight each other. They don't make up, and they have no direction or purpose, and they have nowhere that they're really going. It's just become a game of survival. I can't tell you how many people I talk to every single week who are just surviving in their marriage. Think about this last part. A roommate is guaranteed a temporary position. Think about this. Having a roommate as a temporary position. Is this what you really want in your marriage? You see, marriage is not a temporary position. It's a lifelong commitment. But it often feels, when you're in this place of being a roommate, it feels like it's a temporary position, like I'm just here for a certain amount of time. Now, I want to talk to you about what it actually looks like to be teammates. You see, if you think about a sports team, some of your greatest sport teams ever, like the New England Patriots, maybe you've been on sports teams where it's like, I was on a lot of sports teams growing up, and one of the things that I loved is being able to work together as a team, having a common mission, a common values as a team. And in marriage, this looks like parenting together, being on the same page, making sex and intimacy a priority, making date nights a priority, having a vision for our life, having a vision for our marriage. And the other cool thing is, think about teams when you're down. You pick each other up. Think about in family, something happens to you as a family, something happens individually, and you're picking each other up. No matter what trials and tribulations that come up, you're there to lift each other up and support each other. See, teammates will argue, teammates will fight, they'll get frustrated, but at the end of the day, the teammates are doing it for a greater cause of the team. They're doing it for a reason. Think about how many times on a team you may have challenged a teammate who wasn't showing up in the way that you see in their potential, or coaches challenge each other to show up, and they really show up to their highest potential. And marriage is no different. You're going to have to challenge your wife. You're going to have to challenge your husband. You're going to have to fight sometimes. And you're not fighting each other. You're fighting for what you want as a couple. You're fighting for what you want in your life. You're fighting for this vision. Sometimes it's frustrating. Sometimes you feel like giving up and quitting. But guess what? In sports, you're going to feel like giving up. You're going to feel like quitting. But the great teams and the championship teams, they lean into each other. They support each other. They lift each other up. And marriage is no different. This is an opportunity for you when you feel down to look over and to smile and say, hey, I'm going to lift you up today. I know you're not feeling your best, but guess what? I'm going to show up for you today. And this is really what it means to be a teammate inside of marriage. See, there's so many ways today to show up as roommates inside of your marriage. It's almost, we've been programmed to just go through the motions of marriage and live separately, live separate lives, and not work together as a team and to be roommates. But guess what? The marriage that you want to create, the marriage that you want to have, the marriage that I'm committed to making is about being teammates. It's about winning. It's about having a championship team at home. Not a perfect team at home, but a championship team at home where we're working together and we have a common mission and a common purpose as a powerful couple to lead other couples. And that's where we're really at today. And that's what I want to share with you is just this idea of shifting from a roommate to a teammate inside of your home and having a common mission and a common values of where you're going, working together as a team, fighting for each other, no matter what comes up, and being able to lift each other up every single day. And this is one of the things that I started to ask myself is, where in your marriage, and this is a question you could ask yourself, where in your marriage are you showing up like a roommate? Maybe it's inside of communication. Maybe it's inside of sex, intimacy. Maybe it's inside of co-creation. Maybe it's inside of parenting or spirituality. And how can you begin to shift this into becoming more like a teammate? Maybe it's just starting with a common mission, a common way to communicate, a common way to, share about parenting, a common way to create something, co-create something together, a common way to have sex and intimacy, to open up conversation around this and start talking about what you truly want and the mission and the direction you're going as a couple. So I want to thank you guys for letting me share this message with you today. And I really want you to look at your relationship. Is it more like roommates or is it more like a teammate? And if it's more like roommates, learn how to shift into teammates. And most of the time, it's just sitting down and having a common mission and a common vision for where you're going inside of your relationship, your marriage, and inside of your home. If you guys are looking to connect further with a group of like-minded people, join myself and so many others in the Habit-Based Lifestyle Secrets group on Facebook, where we will be dropping daily habits to help you live to your full potential. If you want to be one of our next case studies and begin living this habit-based lifestyle, feel free to reach out to me, jesse@habitbasedlifestyle.com, or you can check out my website, habitbasedlifestyle.com. Until next episode, have a great day.